What's up, traders? Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol BABA for Alibaba Group. On the left-hand side, we're looking at the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, this will be more of an update since we have covered this one in recent history. If this is the first time you're tuning into the channel, the yellow lines do represent gaps in the chart. So we have an overhead gap here, and up above an overhead gap up above there. For now, what you'll notice is, of course, that we did fill this gap right here. So what we're going to do is walk through this exercise together. Hopefully you find this useful. We'll remove that from the chart, and then we'll draw in the newest gap, which has been added, right? So, oh, so beautiful chart here on Alibaba. It's full of holes, if you will. So underneath today's low is going to fill down towards the high of Monday. And what I always like to do is just keep those as yellow, so I know whenever we're coming into a potential gap zone. So yellow, and then we'll flip this one. Oops, if we just grab that here, flip that to yellow, and I'll zoom back in for a moment so we can see what exactly is going on. So zooming back in, you can clearly see gap underneath now exists, and to the upside we still have an overhead gap. I would argue we should shift the focus over to the 30-minute intraday time frame here to pick out critical levels. So clearly, if our 166.18 starts failing, we're going to look for the gap to fill underneath. In that case, the target is 161.73. I'm not saying it has to go there, but that's simply how these things work, right? If we start trading into a gap, we would expect it to fill. To the upside, what do we have on the docket, right? So if we can start taking out today's high, I would argue it's kind of just this zone in here. If I had to pick a number, it would be this right here at 169.25. If we can start to take that out, look for your next area of support to act as resistance here at 171, and then we can sort of take the move up and over 172, right? So I just drew a bunch of lines on the chart. How are you actually going to trade that, right? Depending on how we open, and let's check in on the extended hour, see if anything crazy has happened yet. So no, pretty much flat. We'll be opening near the highs of the day. So zooming back in, how do we actually trade this, right? Well, if we're opening somewhere in here, you can take the trade from 169.25 up to here. When we get here, if we get here, you're then asking the question, does the chart look strong? Are the buyers strong? Or are the sellers starting to take control? In which case, you then make the decision, okay, I trim some of the position, or I hold the full position into the next major zone of resistance at 172.60, right? And this is not a laughable trade here. There's plenty of range there to make that viable with shares and or options. To the upside after that, then we have to consider, okay, we're probably coming into the bottom of the next gap at 177.84, and after that, there's no overhead resistance until we fill the gap at 181.50. Again, I'm not saying we go all the way there to in one day. I'm just saying that's how technically I would go about thinking about BABA into the remainder of the week. Personally, I use this for day trades only. I would not be willing to swing trade Alibaba simply due to the gappy nature of the chart. Something I would also just want to point out is that obviously today's action is rather strong, right? And just zooming in, making this a little bit bigger so we can do the fibs. Obviously, if we take them out from low to high, what you'll notice is we never really spent too much time even, resisting at the 38.2, at the 50, and or the 61.8. Instead, we've nearly made a 100% retracement back up to the highs, so that does strike me as more bullish than, of course, bearish, and that resulted in a daily hammer candle being formed, which would imply that buyers stepped up at the lows. So all things considered, we do still have a bit of a long bias here. You have that sort of roadmap, which I've outlined in the, with these numbers that we just discussed, right? So that's how I would go about trading Alibaba into the end of the week. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.